is like this thing is never going to go away. There's just a lot of things that you can add to it. So I think today we're going to work on the snack shop. I got started on it and kind of put in some preliminary things like the popcorn machine, which is more like just a bunch of eggs, and the soda machine. But I think we're going to see if we can add some more details here. So probably first things first, we need to come up with some kind of a like cashier kind of thing. So let me see what kind of electronics we have available. Well, it looks like this will work pretty good. And since I have several of these, we'll probably set them up for all of the areas, including the ticket booth and the other shops, just to kind of keep it consistent. Let's see, do I want it? Excuse me, just answering a question for a guildmate about Shadesy, which is going on at this time. If you haven't had a chance to check it out yet, I highly recommend it. It is quite the occasion. Not only are the cities nicely decorated, but the Quiet Downs instance is pretty entertaining on its own. Even though I tend to get lost at the beginning of that thing and end up having to wait for the little angel thing to come and rescue me. But, you know, it's one of those things where you can get more of the event currency from repeating the dungeon, but if you don't want to, you know, at least do it the one time so you can at least say, yeah, hey, I did it, and this is what I got from it. You don't get decor every time you go through. I think of the 6 times that I went through it yesterday, I got decor twice. Usually it's either the little flask thing that you get, I don't know what it's called, or one of the special event foods, like some kind of like eggs or something, fire eggs or whatever. Anyway, let's see, the keyboard. I guess it would be helpful if I spelled that right instead of K. No, it doesn't look like it. Let's see. Just looking to see if there's anything I can use that might kind of take the place of that. But there's definitely lots of decor. There's those which you can get from the event vendor for the shade silver, which you can collect from doing the dailies and from repeating the instance Quiet Downs, or there's those directly from the housing vendor. If you look up, I don't think there's an actual It would be nice if they had like a holiday section temporarily installed, so you just kind of have to know what to look for. So like there's um, the the candy bowls of varying colors. There's spooky green window, which is nice. There's the wagon, a red wagon. This one's empty. There's another one that you can get for shade silver at the event vendor that comes piled with effigies, I think. Which reminds me, there's the effigy that you can get for renown. He's a pretty nifty little customer. And then there's like there's the lights with the skulls, and also the drooping ones with the skulls, and different kind of skull things, and then another one. Then you got the light post ones. I'm not sure if there's, yeah, there's a spiked. So you just kind of have to hunt and peck. I really wish they would add special categories, like maybe a listing of new things, or at least have a section that's just for event things. If they have it, I haven't been able to find it. It looks like it's just divvied up into whatever category it happens to be. So you literally have to go through each and every one. I'm almost positive though, if you check the forums, there is a thread in the housing forum that provides a listing of all of the decor that people have been able to locate. Excuse me. So be sure and check that out if you're really interested in making sure you get everything that there is. I will say that if for whatever reason you don't have the time to collect the shade silver, those things that people buy off of that vendor are tradable, so you might check the auction house. It's going to cost you a little bit because there's a lot of people that have been, you know, taking advantage of people's desire to have multiples of things. So, you know, it may cost you quite a bit of gold, but if that's your only route, if you don't have the time to collect the shade silver yourself, that's an option. So yeah, back to the snack stand. So I'm got this in here. I'll see if I can find something specific that we can use for like a keyboard kind of thing. I don't really see anything that comes to mind per se. The ideal thing, it actually is, I think it comes off of a reputation vendor, which of course my alt doesn't have available, so it's one of those deals. We'll just leave it like that for now, I guess. And then what I'd like to do is maybe set up like a sneeze guard and then have an array of different foods lined up here. And then I'm going to put in a couple of faux doors to kind of represent that that's where they're actually cooking some of this stuff, so that I feel like I have to put that out here. So the sneeze guards, the best way to do it is the curved glass. You can use the square glass. I've done it both ways. It's just the curved ones tends to be a little easier. And I'm gonna get Riveted would probably be better. Let's go with the burnished metal, I guess. Just gonna grab 5 of those, and then oops. And then see if we can set something up nice. Now, I'm going to remind folks that tomorrow, rather than going with the usual routine of, Dominion homes, we are going to be doing a special house tours episode tomorrow. We're going to be doing spooky homes, haunted homes, insane asylums, whatever we happen to find that seems to fit the whole Shades Eve kind of thing. I thought that would be kind of fun to hunt up houses that fit the mood and give folks some ideas, because I would mention that Carbine is holding a haunted house contest. You can find that on their actual game site. It's the most recent news article that they have there. And I think you have until October 28th to submit your entry, and the way you do that is you email them 3 screenshots of your house, and they will pick the winners from that. And I think the prizes range from a year to 3 months worth of signature service, plus the midnight version of the Equivar, I think is what it is. So, some nice prizes, and of course, it's just fun to enter stuff like that. You never know what they might be looking for. They do say what they're judging on, as far as like creativity, quality of your screenshots, that kind of thing. But hey, if you got something that looks pretty spiffy, then why not enter it. I think once the winners are chosen, I think the idea is that Tony will tour around on those particular plots to kind of show them off on one of their live streams. I don't think it says when that will happen, but I assume it's sometime after the fact. So maybe if the contest ends on the 28th, then maybe by the 31st or something they have I don't know if that lands on a particular day. Let me see. Well, the 28th is a Wednesday, so probably on their casual Friday on the 30th, they'd probably seize that opportunity for touring the winter homes. But it is open to both factions, both regions, as far as I know. I don't think I remember seeing anything where it said, restricted to NA only or anything like that. Because it's not like it's physical prizes anyway. It's in-game kinds of things. So. Okay. Then we're just going to link these up, I think. Excuse me. Yes, I am still fighting my cough. I'm also, since we have the popcorn here, I think I'm gonna put like some kind of a snack rack, chip rack, something like that. I've been playing with ideas of how I would represent that, so let's see. Probably end up making myself one of those shop signs, the holographic, the one that's kind of oblong, it's got the letters. I think that will make a good topper for it. But for the rack itself, probably just some pillars. Since I have some spare casting ones to use up, might as well do that. I think I need to add some lighting over here though, because that's getting pretty dark. Let's just set up some lighting for there. Now the way I understand it, somewhere along the way, I don't know if it's something to do with the daily logins or for a special event or what, but supposedly I've heard that we'll be having access to like a permanent daylight setting, which I think a lot of people would be appreciative of. But in these kind of instances when you're building, and depending on the hour that you come to build, it can be pretty annoying because like you can't see anything. Anyway, I think I'll put that here, little chip rack. We'll see what it looks like. I don't know if it's going to turn out alright or not. I want the rack to be pretty kind of wiry looking. So we're gonna go pretty small with it. With the pillars, I mean. Now I don't know if any of you have seen what I'm talking about, but it's like those, it's like a little rack that there's several bars across, and then like on the bar there's like little clips, and on the clips there's this little chip bags, and it doesn't have to be chips, sometimes it's like M&M bags and like, I don't know, just little baggie of snacks, candies or whatever. I just figured pretending that they were chips would be alright. And just for the sake of kind of keeping it simple, I'm going to push that in and just have a little small narrow rack. Now, with Katya's add-on, you could probably get it just very precise as far as the distance between these, but I'm not going to worry about that. I am going to buy one more pillar though. But, you know, if that's something you like to be pretty particular about, then, you know, more power to you on using her add-on in that way. Just most of the time when I'm building like this, it's all kind of loosey-goosey anyway, so I'm not really too caught up on that. If it comes to it that I feel like I need to, then I'll change it up. Like, you know, putting these out, it was easier to space them out because there was going to be so many, but this is just a few, and it's no biggie on that. So what to use as a chip bag? I want something kind of almost like a pillow, but it has to be kind of a certain shape, and I figured the tan sacks are probably not the tan sacks, the grain sacks maybe. Yeah, probably the grain sacks. The only thing is with the grain itself. Yeah, I'd like this where it's maybe it's the sandbag I'm thinking of. Probably that. Yeah, there we go. I was gonna say I know there's one that's like a single and it's closed, and that's what I want. So I'm just gonna. I don't think I have any now. Just gonna grab, I don't know, 15 of these things. And now if it doesn't work like I'm thinking, then I've got 15 bags of sand to figure out what to use for, but I'm sure I'll figure out something. Right. That's part of the reason why I like buying cheap, because often I'll buy something thinking, oh, this will work perfect, and then realize, oh my gosh, I shouldn't have bought all those. Just doing that, got a twirly gig the whole time. I want it small enough where it's kind of up off of the thing, so that it, you know, it looks like it's hanging on the rack here. Now I know there's different styles of the rack. Some of it is where they're hanging along the one here. Others are vertical. Do it however you feel like you want to. I'm gonna do the vertical way. The singles, usually the singles is like, it's just one strip, and you see like that in the grocery store when you're going around, and they have those little bits, little oddball bits that looks like completely out of place at the aisle that you're on, but that's what they put there. And whether anyone will actually understand what this is supposed to be is another story, but we shall see. I'm also going to be loosely placing these rather than copying them up, because I kind of like that it's not too samey. In other words, I could, you know, maybe put 4 on this rack instead of just 3. Oops. Wow, clicking the wrong thing. As if somebody bought one of the ones down below or something like that. Now, as I mentioned earlier, I've been doing a lot of Shades Eve content, trying to collect as much of the new decor as possible, because not only would I like to use it in my Shades Eve plot for my guild event, but it's just some of it I think will be very handy even outside of this event. So, you know, it's one of those things where you just want to stock up on as many as you think you might want, rather than waiting. Okay, so I kind of made it look like there's several missing. Now, how to make it look like different kinds of chips. I figured I would have to use some of the travel posters. I don't want to use the Phineas one because that's already lined up here. I could, doesn't mean you can't, but I prefer to go with something a little different. Thing is, Cheese doesn't have access to a lot of different ones. I'd have to go on my main to grab some of those. But we'll use a couple of these just as an example of what I'm talking about. And then later I'll come and get some more and with my main. But let's, like these four here, we'll make them one brand. Now we've seen this with like books, people using these as like the covers of a book, and I'm just hoping that they will kind of represent like a tip brand. It's not as handy because these particular bags aren't very flat. I am gonna see if maybe, oops, I jumped there. I'm gonna see if maybe it would help if I turned them around, because I think this side that's showing to the front is actually more rounded than the back side, so I'm gonna see what that looks like before we continue on. Really hard to see, but it's tiny. But it does look like it's a little bit, I can get my camera to sit still. Looks like it's a little bit flatter than before. So maybe a little bit more believable. Maybe. A little bit on the tricky side, I think. But that's the best I can kind of think of. Maybe if I go inside and take the camera this way. Of course, I think that's upside down. Is that upside down? Yeah, it is. There's like a kind of chip bag thing, sort of. I think that's too big. Maybe that will work. Something like that. So now to do that for all of them. So that means I need to turn all of these around. Ooh. Yeah, I've been working getting the plot. The plot for the Shades Eve Guild event is pretty much done. It's just I keep adding extra little details, like I got some of the new trees yesterday, some of the spooky ones with the weird faces on them and stuff. So I've been adding that, but mostly I've been working on making sure I have everything else in order, because like part of the event is going to have music involved, and I've never tried using music on TeamSpeak and stuff before. I had a guildmate or former guildmate that did that pretty regularly, and I had never tried it myself, and so it was kind of a new thing. But I got it to work with the help of another guildmate. We got it sorted as far as figuring out how to set it up and not have it sounding all weird and things. Wow, that's really jumpy. Like Tales from Beyond the Fringe kibble or something, I don't know. There we go. You know, just an idea that you're getting something from there. Something a little different. Let's see. Need to turn these, I guess. I probably would have been smart if I like checked it out before I'd put all of these in, but you know, live and learn. One of those things. But in addition to the music thing that I had to get sorted out, I'm busily working on. I don't necessarily go in with a full-on script, because you know there's always going to be things that happen that you can't plan for. Someone will ask a question, or you know, just the event itself kind of goes its own way. But I always like to be somewhat prepared for like potential questions about like how some of the games work, that kind of thing. And of course, with it being kind of a special event, with it being holiday related and everything, I've been working on writing up special blurbs for each little section. It's like we're going to be playing like, I think it's 5 or 6 different games. So I've got a special blurb set up for each one, or I have 3 of the 5 or 6, I think, finished. I'm just working on the others. I know my guildmates often think I probably have this already fully prepared, like, cause I announced that we were having it like last month sometime, and because I mainly wanted to give them plenty of time to, like, if they wanted to come dressed for a costume, because we are having like a costume contest, so I wanted to give them plenty of time to kind of look up stuff and collect it if they needed to. And so they know that it's, you know, been in the works for quite a while. It's just a lot of things I've left kind of to the last minute, you know. I always say that's the worst thing to do, but you know, it happens. You know, other things come up, and you don't get to tackle it as efficiently and quickly as possible. Okay, so that's the beginnings of our chip rack, or whatever you want to call it. Like I said, I'll work on. I'll bring over my main sometime within the next day or so, and get her to purchase up some of the other posters, because I'm pretty sure that's how I got this one. I had her buy it. Since she's got all of the lore unlocked, then she'll have access to all of those, and it'll just go directly to this one's crate, so that shouldn't be a problem. As far as foods, you know, you're thinking snack foods. This isn't like gourmet restaurant kind of thing. So you want things that, you know, handheld foods like hot dogs, tacos, pizza, the popcorn that we already have, things like that, the chips. You want things that, you know, you can hold in your hand. So I've done pizza quite a few times, and I'll probably add one here as well. Let's see what we got to work with here. Have like absolutely no dinner stuff, so let's see what we, whoops, I just clicked the wrong button. Look in the cookware stuffs. I'm mostly looking for something that I can use as like a platter. I don't necessarily want to use the plate, but I will if that's what comes to it. The reason I don't like the plate necessarily is if I set it onto the countertop, there's a bit of roundness to the plate. Same way with the bowls. So if I sink something down inside it to only show a part of it, usually that shows underneath the plate or the sides of the bowls. So having a flat platter kind of thing works better in those instances for me. Of course, part of the problem too will be, like, you can see the glass here. What I'll probably have to do is rethink how I've got this set up. I'll probably, instead of having these as shelves, I'll just turn these and close it completely off. In fact, we could probably do that right now, just to maybe leave shelves on either side of that, but the rest of it won't. Just to make it cleaner. Could leave that underneath. I don't think anyone would actually see it, but you know, I could just remove this one here and take it out and have that as a spare for some other thing, but since I'm considering, well, let's see, do it like this. Just so this is hidden as well. Like so. Never wants to work the right way the first time. This is what I mean. There was someone that wrote in the forums wanting to know how some of us go about planning out our plots and everything. And I do like to plan ahead of time, but there's no way that you can plan every possible scenario. And one of the big, advice I gave was be willing to be flexible, because it's really, there's certain instances where you have to kind of change your plan. There's just no going around that. Maybe you discover a decor item doesn't really work as well as you thought. Maybe it's better suited that... Oops, I think I got rid of something else that I didn't need to. Let's put that back. Maybe it's... you think that a particular decor will work and you end up deciding, no, I'm going to change it to something else. And then that messes up another portion of it. Maybe something doesn't match no longer as it used to, that kind of thing. Like there's a fellow builder that I know that's been playing around with different kinds of wall materials. And I think the hover park boardwalk stuff, these darker walls would probably work better. I think he's currently using this one, and depending on the rest of the furniture in the room, one might look better than the other. And if you prefer the one, then you have to look, okay, does that affect everything else that's in the room or does it not? It's just little things like that that you have to take into consideration, and being willing to kind of adjust as you build will play in your favor a lot. Let's see. Because if you're determined that it has to be this way or that way, you're gonna end up finding that you're probably having more trouble simply for the fact that you're so rigid in things. Like I know the massive umbrella trees are like the thing to get if you want to have like hills and elevations in your plot for like landscaping and stuff, but sometimes those just don't really work well with whatever you're putting together. I'm gonna change this. Little flashy there, and it feels actually a little bit odd because there's no leggy thing over here. In fact, I may switch these around to be a little more... How do I have that linked up? Do it like this. Just to kind of get this looking a little bit more, instead of just a ramshackle arrangement. And and then put the legs here. Wow, I'll talk. And of course I forgot to bring some more water up. That's not good. So, got one more of those I can copy over. course, she doesn't have access to that one, so that'll be another one I'll have to get. So let me write a note down, otherwise I'm gonna forget I need that one. So, posters for chips and for counter leg. Otherwise, it's going to bother me that that one's got the poster showing. Looks a little bit better now, I think. Suiting that up so that it's a little more even. Maybe these are acting as the heaters or something, I don't know. Anyway, back to something that we can use for platter. Something. I'd like something flat. I think that would be best. And it's just the bowls and the plate, especially the bowls because they're the most rounded. But that would be good if it was a solid in the middle. I could probably do it if I put two plates together and made it flat that way. Let me try that. At least for one. This one here, I guess. I hear someone knocking on the door, but be right back. My apologies. Apparently, you've got a neighbor that's interested in taking some clippings of some ivy that we have. They really like the flowers that blooms, and they wanted to make sure they got some clippings, and they wanted permission. So I said, yeah, sure. Go right ahead. Okay, so let's see if this actually works like I'm hoping. Normally I don't bother answering the door when I'm streaming, but I don't know. It's just one of those things, depends on how I feel. I want to, let's see, I think that's gonna stick out. That back down a little bit. We'll just make this smaller. It's really kind of an ugly color for the bottom of that plate, but oh well, that's the way it looks, I guess. Trying to get it so it doesn't look like there's like a little weird line around it. Not that I think very many people will even notice, but okay, so what we're going to do is we'll use this as the pizza platter. For those of you that haven't seen the pizzas that I've made in the past, I did one in my winter toy shop last year. I just made the whole round and then I had like one slice pulled out. And then on my former miniature golf park, I had 2 or 3 slices, and I think this is what we'll do here. We'll just do a few slices, not the whole thing. So basically for pizza, if anybody wants to know how to make it, the way I make it anyway, is basically you use, for each slice, you use 2 pieces of cheese and 3, I think it's Bandit Dynamite. So let's just, and it needs to be the blockless. You just want the wedges. So we'll get 2 pieces of cheese, and then I don't think we have any already, right? And then you want the Bandit Dynamite, because this will be your pepperoni. And it works out best if you use like 3 per slice. You can change the size of the dynamite if you want bigger pieces of salami, but or pepperoni or whatever, but I usually go with 3. It looks the most comfortable to me. You can use other things than the cheese, or you have like cheese and then have something else for your crust, especially if you're doing a full round. That's easiest because there aren't too many triangle pieces that would work as a kind of a crust. But with the cheese, you start off with the bottom side up. That's the part that I use as the crust, because it is a darker yellow than the other. Oops, turning the wrong thing there. Now you can turn it, you know, however way you want. If you're doing a full pizza with, you know, the slices, you know, showing in it as if you've already cut it, then it takes a lot of finagling to get those triangles to kind of line up nicely. But it's possible. I have done it. Now, if you're just doing a full round that hasn't been sliced, you could probably get away with a lot more things. You know, maybe use an Oran window as the crust, the brown one. That would work really nice. I don't think of anything else offhand, but that for sure would work well if you're making a pizza that you're not actually slicing. I did try and experiment with other types of toppings like onions, mushrooms, green peppers, that kind of thing, but it ended up looking more like soup. So I don't know if you can figure out a better way of doing it than I did. I used, like, for the For the mushrooms and onion things, I used like slivers of the plate, because it was like about the only white item that I could find that kind of looked right. You could, for the green peppers, I tried green pillows, just having them kind of angled and just a little sliver showing of that. That didn't work out too good. Like I said, it ended up looking like soup because, but you know, at the time I was still experimenting with how to make the pizza look like pizza. So I was using all sorts of things that probably made it even seem more like soup. I think at the time I hadn't settled on just using the cheese as the cheese kind of thing. So, you know, you may find that those items work well enough, even if I didn't at the time. Now, even though I'm not doing a whole pizza, I'm still kind of eyeballing to make sure that it kind of takes up and it seems like the points are in the center. Okay, and then we just duplicate that. And basically you want, well, try that again. Excuse me. Trying to get that to be in the same position, but it's not gonna work for me. So then you want the lighter cheese color for the top, but it has to be smaller than the original slice because, like I said, you want the darker brown to be showing. So, oops. And then of course you have to sink it down into the other so that it's just the one cheese showing. And then you really just have to play around with sizes, angles, and everything until you get it just about like you want. I aim for having, again, the points being kind of close. But because of the size and the angles and stuff, often it comes up where, you know, there's a little bit of overlap of cheese, but I just pretend like that's just, maybe the cheese is melted off the side and that kind of thing. And then be sure and look at it from all angles because it will look different depending on where you're looking at it. So it's always good to kind of pay attention to that. Like one side might look like, see, this side looks really thin down and the other side looks like super thick, so maybe I need to just tweak it a little bit more. And since most people will be looking at it from the other side, you want to make sure that looks, if you're going to have a bad side and a good side, make sure the one that most people are going to be looking at is the good side. You know, that's what's going to be showing up the most. Select. You know, like if you take any screenshots, that'll be from this side kind of thing. There you go. You kind of got a slice of cheese on a slice of cheese, and it looks kind of like a pizza slice, sort of. I just keep slowly enlarging it and tweaking it this way and that just to kind of get it like I want. It looks a little wonky. Like this. That looks pretty good. It's a nice, good size crust, and then you know it's got like a thick gob of cheese. Looks okay from this side too. So yeah, I think that'll work. Then for the pepperoni, it's just a matter of sizing down the dynamite. Start with one. You basically just flip it over until it's just this part. Now, if you find something that you prefer to use as the pepperoni, we do have like the round red stools, the tops of those. To me, those remind me more of tomatoes. But if you want to try it as salami bits, you know, go right ahead. I just felt like the dynamite worked best for me. Now, because of the size, it's going to be hard to see it, but you just keep popping it around until you get it where you want. And then because you're using approximately 3 per slice, not only do you want to make sure it's not showing through too much on the sides, but you don't want it all mushed together in one wad. So you kind of rotate it here and there to better kind of place it in there. If that makes sense. And you want to keep it on the cheese, so it might be good if I knock that down a little bit in size. There's like 1 pepperoni. If you can get it a little more flat on there, fine. It seems a comfortable depth for me. So, and again, like I said, just kind of rotate it so it looks a little different here and there, not the same. Now I'm going to do the end one first because that will be the most tricky one to put in. I'm going to look at it from the other side. And then we'll put the third one in. And again, I'm going to rotate it a little bit. It looks a little different than the other two. And there's your slice of pizza. Like I said, adjust the heights. This one looks, it's pretty up there, so I could probably get it to come down a little bit. Just you don't want to completely lose it, because then you have to kind of hunt it up, figure out. Oops. Wow, that was like a thing. There you go. That's a slice of pizza. And then you just do the same thing. Now, because of Katya's little tool, you could link it up, rotate it, link it up, copy it as a set, and then rotate it off, and then place the next slice, and it should work comfortably. It shouldn't pose any issues. In fact, we'll try that now, just kind of. So it's 2 slices of cheese and then the 3 dynamite. So let's just go ahead and I'm going to get enough for 2 more slices. And then we'll link up all of these to the crust piece. then go to the set manager. And we'll just make a new set. I'm going to call that pizza. That way it's... I tend to forget to label mine. Excuse me. Then we'll right click the crust cheese, add as a linked set, and then we're just going to rotate this around and move it we'll line it up better once the other slice is in, but for now we're just going to kind of put it out of the way. And then if we put place on link without doing the relocate, it should just put it right back where it was, in theory. There you go. There's your another slice of pizza. Easy peasy. And then you just kind of, you know, angle it in however you need to get it to look like it's sort of together but been sliced. Something like so. It's a little touchy on the middle, but not that big of an issue. Like so.